Hello, purpose-driven career leaders. My name is Kori Burkholder, founder of Purpose-Driven Career Accelerator program. And I am here today with Stephanie, who just recently finished the program. And we wanted to hop on here today to talk about her experience, what she has achieved for herself, and anything else that she wants to share. So I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie. And Stephanie, just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So my name is Stephanie. I have a background in advertising and currently working in the market research industry. And I am moving forward with a completely different career path, which I will share with you guys.
I know, it's so exciting. Okay, Stephanie, so tell us what you were struggling with when you decided to reach out for support. What was this, about 6, 7 months ago?
Yeah, so it feels like just yesterday, but when I decided to join the program, I was feeling a little bit lost. I had changed careers thinking that, being in the research space was exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't really know where I wanted to go and was kind of just, if somebody asked me where my career was going to be in 5 years, I couldn't tell you. I could tell you where I wanted to be in 10 years, but the short term was just so uncertain to me, and I just couldn't find a way to get there. And I also wasn't feeling fulfilled. So that was my biggest, when I came in here, I said, I need something that is going to make me feel fulfilled every day. And I didn't have that. So that was the biggest, that's what got me in here.
Mm. Yeah, so I remember one of our first sessions, like you had a grand idea of what you wanted, right? It was, what was that?
So when I came in here, I thought I was going to be a psychologist. So I thought you were going to help me with applying to grad schools. But in the back of my head, I was like, okay, I haven't applied to schools. I haven't even started studying. I haven't done anything. And I had been thinking about it for like a year and a half, maybe. Because I knew I wanted to help people, work with people, solve problems, not be in a corporate 9 to 5. And I was like, why haven't I gone back to school to be a psychologist? I live in New York City. There's so many schools at my fingertips. I just hadn't done it. Even in some of our first lessons, when I was picturing my future self, it was being a psychologist and running my own practice. And that's what I thought. I thought that we were going to get me to a point where I was applying to grad school. And I remember you told me to slow down, and I'm so happy I did.
Yeah, sometimes you have this fixed idea,
Yeah.
about what it is that you want or think that you want. And then, as we go through and the process, things start to open up a little bit from there.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So where are you now, as opposed to kind of where we started?
Yeah. So I'll start broad and then narrow in. But where I am now is, I'm still at my current role. I have a clear vision of where I'm going to be in the next 5 years. So, do you want me to share now where
Sure.
I'm going to be?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm getting certified in health coaching. So I'm starting in September, which I'm so excited about. And, that I feel, even though currently what I'm doing, I don't necessarily feel all of those fulfillment and those things. I think I've gotten to a point where I've worked at my current company. The skills that I've learned throughout this program have gotten me to a point where I'm happy. Things are going well, and I can see my future vision in the short term and the long term. So now I see where I'm going to be in 2 years, which is so different than where it was before. Even when I thought I wanted to be a psychologist, I couldn't picture it. Like I couldn't picture it in like a year or two. I just didn't know how I was going to get there. So now I'm like, I've enrolled for my classes in September, and I'm already starting to look at some of the work. Like I have the syllabus printed out, like already in a binder, which is very type A of me, but it's exciting. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. There was a moment, you had like this aha moment, I think, during the program, where it became clear. Do you remember what that was?
I absolutely
Moment?
do.
Can you
Yeah,
share
it was
that?
when it wasn't towards like maybe it was towards the end of my modules or maybe like midway through, but it was passions and interests. So
Mm,
I remember when I was doing that and I was doing like the search on Google, like what do I like to do compared with my skills, and this just kept coming up. Health and wellness kept coming up. And I was like, okay, there's something here. There's a theme that I haven't seen before. And
mm.
that was the turning point. And then when we talked about it, it was like light bulb. That's it. And then I just ran with it. And it was like, thought about it for a few weeks, kept doing a few more solidifying things. But it was like once I discovered that through that lesson, it was no brainer. So
Ex-
that was definitely the turning point. I remember it so vividly.
Yeah, that's when you made the decision, right? It's like the most exciting part of the program always, like when you get
Yes.
to that part of
Yes.
like being super clear, making the decision, and then like once we have the decision, it's easy to make the plan. So
Yeah.
there's so much goodness in all of this because we were simultaneously, working on making your current work situation
Hmm.
better, but then also when you got the clarity, you started just stars started lining up. So can you just share,
Right.
I love that story about you being on the rooftop. So
Yeah.
just share that because it's really important.
Yeah. So I am the type of person that doesn't like to talk about things until they're solidified. Because it's not that I'm superstitious, but I don't like to share too much until I know I'm moving forward with it. And I think this was the problem in my past, is that I was never sure of what I wanted to do. So I would never share it with people because I was like, oh, I don't want to tell people and then back out. And I've always been like that. But when I became so sure of what I wanted to do, I started telling everybody. I met some woman. I was in my building on my roof having lunch one day. It was one of the hottest days in New York, in May. It was like one of the first really hot days. We were sitting up there, just me and her, minding our own business, eating lunch. And then we just start talking about how hot it is. New Yorkers bond over that kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, and we just got to talking, sparked the conversation. She asked what I do for work. So I said I had to go to a meeting. Um, it turns out she was a recruiter for 15 years, lost her job during the pandemic and started her own business. I told her about what I want to do, getting into the health and wellness space, how I was, looking to start my own business one day. It's also important. I'm very inspired by female founders. I think everybody has such an incredible story, male and female, but in particular, a few of the females I followed were really inspiring. And her story was very, very cool to me. She had a young daughter, was working full time running her business. I just thought it was awesome. And I shared with her, how I'm going back to school to get my certification. And she suggested that we start collaborating together and just start, working together, see where things go. She's in recruiting. She works with startups, and I want to be startup and eventually run my own startup. And we were just chatting and talking about it. And this sparked out of nowhere, we were both dripping in sweat. Not that that matters, but I feel like that detail is important because it was
Absolutely.
the most it wasn't professional. I wasn't in a professional networking setting. I was just talking to some stranger I met in my apartment building, and we sparked this connection that, I will have. And networking is key. That is the biggest thing. I now share my vision with everybody. I tell everybody what I want to do. And since then, I will say I've connected with two other founders of small health and wellness startups,
Yeah.
um, sharing and collaborating. And I'm just breaking in. And these are people who have been a few years ahead of me in this process. So it's been so cool. I've already made 2 connections with founders of businesses in the space because of that little push got me to network and share with everybody. And I email people, I email CEOs. I'm like, what do I have to lose? You know, it's just like I'm putting myself out there, sharing my passions, and everybody loves it. Everybody's just as passionate as you are. I was surprised by that. So that was cool.
Yeah, and I think even at work, you had this little story in your head about like being a pain of following up with people when you
Mm-hmm.
need something. And
Yeah.
I think that was a little seed that switched, within
Mm-hmm.
you. Like you transformed that story, right?
Yeah.
And so
It's,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say it built confidence, you know, like it's, um, I did. Yes, you're right. I always felt like when I was asking for things, like I didn't want to bother people, but I was like, who am I bothering? Like it's my life and career path just as much as it is theirs. And not saying you don't do it the right way, but you know, it doesn't hurt. It never hurts.
Yeah. So yeah, so I love the story here is, asking for what you need, following up, sharing your dream with everybody because you've got the clarity now. And with
Yeah.
the sharing, because you're so passionate about it, opportunities are opening up,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So what do you think are the biggest results you've achieved so far?
Um, the biggest results, well, you know, the obvious one is I really have a clear vision. But a little bit more specifically, I think the little things that got me there. And I think one big thing for me was when I used to speak about myself or interview or write a resume, I was always very generic. So
Mm,
it would always just be like, did this, you know, XYZ using, you know, this skill, whatever it is. And I think building career success stories has really helped me see, you know, what I've done in the past and how that can translate to the future. Because and now that I'm through it, I hear people say, I don't want to waste all my skills. And that was such a fear of mine. But
mm,
I now have realized every skill that I built will translate into whatever I do next, no matter what, because you've built those. Doesn't matter if it's like something you're doing on Excel that you might not do again, it's the skills you built around it. Um, so yeah.
yeah. And that's really a big fear. Like you're not alone in that one. So
Yeah.
who's ever listening to this, you have these beautiful skills that you've built up over the years, and they're not going to go to waste. You're obviously going to be building on top of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, getting the clarity and just as you shared, and then also the networking strategy too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the actual bigger ones. I should have added that in there. Networking is huge. You know, I've joined networking events even during COVID, virtual. You know, that's been great. Just pushes you to get out there and meet people.
Yeah, beautiful. So was there anything surprising that you got out of this process that you weren't really expecting?
um, Surprising. Yeah. I mean, I would have never thought that I would be pursuing health coaching. And I also, just aside from that, there was something that I one exercise that I did that really helped me build my confidence, which I was lacking because I had uncertainty, and that was my inner critic. And
Mm,
I feel like the inner critic exercise, which was a side little exercise I did, and I still come back to that. And I feel like having those conversations with myself about, you know, what reality versus like being realistic and bringing myself down, I've kind of overcome that. And even if I haven't, not saying it's perfect, I know what to do to talk myself into the reality and how I can make it work. So that was a little bit surprising to me because it wasn't just about finding the perfect career and the perfect career path. It was about building something in myself, like the confidence that I think I was lacking for the last few years, however long it's been. But that was like a personality thing that I feel like I've built up over the last few months.
Yeah, the inner critic has been with us for our whole life, basically.
Yeah.
And then once you have that knowledge and training, you're able to identify it and transform it in the moment.
Yeah.
Huge life learning, right?
Yes. And it was like that one really dug deep, and it was like a soul searching moment. And just there was a few of those that I think it wasn't just like about the career, it was about building me as a person, which was something different than kind of what I expected.
Yeah, beautiful. So, what would you say to somebody who's kind of on the fence of wanting to join the program, but has, some hesitations? And I'm sure that you had some hesitations before you decided to join. So, can you just share what maybe you were kind of tinkering with before you decided to say yes to yourself?
Yeah. So I definitely had hesitations. I'm sure everybody does. It's time commitment, monetary commitment, wherever you are in your life. And I would say just do it. I tell anybody who asks me, the last 5, 6 months have been the easiest decision I've ever made. It obviously took me a bit to get there. It took a bit of, a few conversations, talking through things, talking about my visions, but I'm a very structured person, and the program allowed structure, but also flexibility to kind of mold it my way. And that was exactly what I needed. I would say just do it. Don't hesitate. I've never felt more clear on a decision in my life. And that is not even an exaggeration. I have never been so sure and been so excited about a path that I'm taking in my life. So that's, I would say just do it. You're always going to have hesitations, but if you don't do it, you'll never know. So
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, what is next for you? So, we have a little insight, but what is next? What are you working towards at this moment?
yeah, so last week I officially enrolled into the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, where I am getting my certification in health coaching. So that is starting September of this year. I am so excited. As I said before, I'm already starting. My type A personality has already started organizing everything. But my goal is to start my own business. So in what capacity, I'm not exactly sure. The next year is going to be really telling on, I'm going to build more on my skills. I've already seen the last 5 months have kind of changed and transformed things. So I'm honestly just excited to see what happens when I go through the certification, and what I learn. But I want to do something with nutrition and coaching people. So again, it does kind of go back to the psychologist a bit, but it's really narrow and niche. It's not broad. It's really honed in on my passions. And, I eventually want to start a business from coaching people and helping them with their daily habits, nutrition. And so that's my plan. And I can't wait.
I can't wait either. It's such a beautiful vision. You've got the 5-year vision and even beyond, right? Like
Yeah.
you're wanting to start that business, and this is really the steps towards that. All of everything that you're doing right now, like talking with the founders of the
Yeah.
startups, all of this are baby steps to get to that bigger vision. So I'm really excited for you.
Yes. Thank you. I'm so excited.
Okay, so if Stephanie's story is inspiring you, or you hear yourself in her story, and you're seeing some possibilities, I'd love to invite you to a complimentary 15-minute call where we can dive into your future dreams, any obstacles that are standing in your way, and we can start turning those obstacles into little projects, and you'll walk away with a game plan. So just go to purposefuldrivencareers.com, and you'll complete a short application, and you'll schedule your complimentary brainstorming call. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. And my name is Kori Burkholder, reminding you to take action, feel the fear, and do it anyways.
Thank you.